Hey Witch, and welcome back to Witch Hunt. Today on the trial of Lennon Smith, we will be discussing deities, archetypes, and everything in between from labels or more so, as she says, unlabeling. So thank you so much for joining us, Lennon. I absolutely love your channel. I was just binge watching your 10 Things I Don't Do as a Witch. I really enjoyed that. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. I feel so, coincidentally enough, I feel so happy to be on trial today. So,
Right? Um, okay, so let's just jump right into it. So tell
okay.
us, do you subscribe to any labels? How do you feel about labels? Are you a
Woo,
witch? Are you a Wiccan? Are you just, are you a hot mess like me? What is it?
I'm a hot mess. Well, I guess you could say that I have all labels and I'm none of the labels. I, inside my videos, okay, I would say I'm a solitary pagan witch because I subscribe to those things in little snippets of my practice, right? But I can't say that I'm just a mind witch or I'm just a green witch or something like that. I use those terms, especially like when I'm talking with other people or even in my videos, as clarifiers, as jumping off points. I think that in terms of conversation, when the uh, when the conversation is going in a positive, respectful way, then that's where labels can go. It's like, oh, okay, I know what you mean by green witch. Okay, I get it. But that can't be, I mean, they're gilded cages, in my opinion. I think that once we put a label down, I feel like it suffocates me in a way. So I'm like, oh, well, what if I want to do this today? So I feel kind of restricted. I feel like I'm a bird stuck in, a gilded cage with labels. So I subscribe to all of them and none of them.
Okay. All right. Um, Yeah, so with the labels, I think that it's really important, especially for new people coming in, to not get tripped up on that. You don't have to give yourself a label. You don't have to take a label that someone else tries to put on you. Like if you're like, I like crystals and I like the moon, and someone's like, well, then you're a lunar witch. Then you're like, no, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
And then also, if you do subscribe to labels, that label doesn't chain you to one thing. So like maybe you're a green witch and I'm a green witch, but maybe you're a green witch like I've never experienced before. Maybe you do things I've never heard of before. That doesn't mean that you're not a witch or that I'm not a witch. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, at the end, pick whatever makes you comfortable, but the labels don't mean anything.
Right. And I think it's important to note, like you said, if you're beginning in the craft, if you're a beginner in the craft, um, I think that is where the labels are going to benefit you the most because you find out what you're passionate about. Like, what is it that talked you into magic, be it in witchcraft? It's like where your passions are is pretty much what you're going to research first. So in terms of looking things up, those are the where the labels, I guess, would benefit you. But after a while you start learning all about the rest of the labels, then you're like, all of these, I'm so eclectic now, so I think that it's good when you're beginning to find out what you're passionate about. And if you're passionate about crystals, you're a crystal witch that day, and it's okay that tomorrow you want to be a green witch. So
Yes, yeah, yeah. You're absolutely not like chained to anything. And
yeah.
then as you start with like what's really interesting to you and you follow that path, it'll automatically start opening doors to other things. So pick one thing, pick two things that you're really into. And
Mhm.
that kind of helps you like not be overwhelmed also by all
Yeah.
that's out there because it can get really loud between social media and just all the information that's available now. Everyone's just eternally connected with social media and technology, which is great. It's a blessing and a curse, whatever. But yeah, just following one thing that you're really interested in, and that will naturally carry you into other things, and your path will grow and change and evolve as you grow and change.
Right. I agree. And I like that
That would have been
we
awkward if you were
start.
like, no, I don't agree.
Oh, I know. But I like that we started with labels because I was able to kind of shout my business to you guys about, oh, don't allow yourself to be put in a cage. But it's so nice to kind of pick a little out of all the baskets. So,
Okay, so I'm not caging you, but tell me what the craft looks like on you. Tell me what your interests are. Tell me what your path centers on. What do you got going on over there?
oh, well, today,
Right. Yeah.
uh, I very much hold a cerebral path. I'm very much, I guess you would say, psycho-spiritual path. It's very much a me, myself, and I kind of a thing. I read on a blog years ago, whom do you serve in terms of witchcraft? And I thought, oh, I answered pretty selfishly. I was like, well, me. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, well, it is me. It is an internal work for me. My path focuses more on left side of the brain, right side of the brain. So research and development and knowledge and furthering those aspects, but then also in ways in which I can use my creative, brain and my art and creativity to branch both sides of my brain to help me. And now my answer of whom do you serve can be expanded. I have, by getting to know myself on my path, I can get rid of obstacles on my path. And then when it's time for me to hold space for someone else, or when it's time for me to hold someone else on the path's hand, or another witch that's struggling with something, if I hold space for myself and my path is constantly about evolving myself and my mind, body, and spirit, then I can do that for others too when the time is right. And so I guess my path is cerebral in nature. But if you want to know like eclectics, very much it's lots of writing stuff down, lots of, meditating. And right now in the winter here in the Northern Hemisphere, I can't get out in my herb garden and do any green witchery, but I can get in the kitchen and make some cupcakes, and I can put some magic in them. Okay. Because I have, I can write some, sigils with some frosting on some cookies. And I mean, the magic to me is everywhere. And
Yeah.
it's just like inspiration. You can find it in a butterfly. You can find it in your child's, they're laughing about a joke they read in a book. It's in everything. And it's about learning about the magic on a macro level and a micro level, and the same internally as well. So I think that my path, I would say that my path is cerebral, but I think it's about inspiration, and it's about finding what you think about on a day-to-day basis. Like if I have to feel like I have to put some magic in the laundry to make me do it. So I think on a day-to-day basis, it's just whatever I'm drawn to. And that could be tarot and oracle. Sometimes I get immersed and I just want to do it all day. And the next day I just want to look at my crystals, and the following day I might not have time to do any of it. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
So I guess my path looks so wide, like my path is a highway.
Okay, so that leads me to another question then, which I think I have my answer, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Are you now, or have you ever been in a coven?
No. My path started out with, I don't know, wanting to be the witch on a very, very old Halloween card, like from the 40s. Hat, cat, broom, that's it. I didn't really ever want to be in a coven. I didn't really want to do magic in a group. That just never really was my thing. Had a couple of Wiccans in my high school that would talk at the lunch table and things, and I kind of got some snippets from listening, overhearing their conversation. And I don't know, I just never thought that was something that I would do. And so when I started my craft journey, I stuck with that, and it never felt right. It never felt right to reach out into my state and find a coven. It never even occurred to me that that would ever probably be part of my path. So
Okay. Yeah, and that's okay. Everyone's different. Again,
have you?
I will go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay. One second. I just want to say this because we were just talking about listening to the Wiccans. Everyone's path is different, whether you work alone or you want to work with a coven, or but when we say there's no wrong way, there it really isn't. It's whatever helps you be the best version of you, what brings you empowerment. But things like Wicca is a structured religion, and there is set steps and initiations and different things that, I'm not going to get into that because I'm not Wiccan, so I'm not the one to speak on it. But just there is a difference. Wicca is a religion, and witchcraft, which we subscribe to, is a practice that looks very different and diverse on each unique person. So just to offer you guys that. Okay, so what were you saying? Am I in a coven? Absolutely not. I live out in the sticks. I've got cows, Christians, and cowboys, and there's no covens. We got lots of C's here, but like
I don't think I have one here either. I live in the Bible Belt, so
yeah. Well, welcome. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure is.
yeah. So I mean, I all joking aside, I do have a sister who's a devout Christian, and I mean, I jokingly call her Sister Christian, but I love her, and I've let her know, like, and for everybody, like, we fully support whatever brings you comfort and helps you move through life. But yeah, no, there's no covens here. I don't think. I just feel like I hold like a lot of resentment or trauma around structured religion.
Me too.
And therefore, especially when I came into the craft, I was like, I studied everything, but I was just because I wanted that knowledge, but I was like, Thelema, no thanks. Like a Wicca, no thanks. Just all
Same.
these different things. Oh, like covens, no thanks. Yeah, because I want to be able to do my own thing, and yeah. So
Yeah, I was raised Christian. My family is very much still pious. They're devout, like you said. All my entire family is devout Christian. It was hard severing myself, and I'm now an advocate for that, for anyone that wants to get away from that religion, or organized religion, I guess you could say, but mine happened to be Christianity. And it was so hard, the severance, and there was so much guilt and shame for wanting to move away from that, but wanting to be the same as your family and not wanting to feel like the black sheep. That was really hard. And that, you still get immersed in dialogues. Like I'm one of 5 siblings, and one of them's an ordained minister.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't get into dialogues with where my spirituality goes, but my mom still talks to me all the time about, like, well, Lennan, just get your Bible out and read it. Okay, you'll feel better, stuff like that. So it took a long time to get to a place where I could respect why she would say those things to me, because she's immersed in her faith. She's got a lot of love with her faith. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time not to cringe. When you walk in a Walmart here, it's God bless you, and you're like, it took me a long time to just be like,
yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
and walk away. And sometimes it's hard because I don't really have somebody to talk to when stuff like in my spiritual practice happens. But I've got my husband and my kids, and sometimes we'll get into conversations. But that's why I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Me too. To build that community and to connect with other people, that to be a part of something, without having to have like the rules or the structure. But yeah, because when I left religion, I had the same thing, just feeling. The biggest thing for me, there was like the guilt and the shame and the stuff that I went through about like, oh, my faith isn't strong, or like this and that. But also was like, if I let go of all this stuff that I've been given since I was a child, that was like, this is what we believe, this is the truth, this is the only truth. I'm like, what's over here? Like what's going to happen to me? What do I believe? And so it's just like a huge, leaving religion is like a 3-year tower moment. At least it was for me. Like falling.
It was like a spiritual death and a spiritual awakening. And that stuff takes years. Yes. I had a comment on one of my very first videos I ever posted was a testimony video. I went all out. I was like, if I'm gonna come on YouTube, I'm coming. Here's my journey. And I got a comment that, I don't know, I guess you get those trolls like comments, but one of them really made me think, and it said, well, you were just a rebel, you were just rebelling against your parents, and that's what all this is about. And I was like, maybe it started out like that. Maybe I did want to just wear my fairy wings on Sunday instead of getting up at the crack of dawn and going to church. Okay, maybe, but I didn't want to be told anymore that I had to minister to my neighbor, a neighbor kid that was wearing a hijab. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell someone in the LGBTQIA plus community that they're condemned. No, I'm not going to do any of that. And I think that I started to really understand the dogma, and a lot of, I'm not saying any judgment. I'm just in the people that hold those faiths. I just held so much confusion and empathy for other people, not just me, when it came in terms of how my specific branch of Christianity took things, and I didn't agree, and I had to pull myself away so that when it came time for me to be my own adult, to be a decent human being in my own perception, that I could do that. And I wasn't living someone else's life and someone else's lie and by someone else's rules. And like you said, it very much was so structured that I had to branch off to be my fairy self, but then to also almost take justice for myself
Yeah.
when it was needed.
That's so beautiful. I wish I could give you a hug. It just resonates really, really deeply with me. I went through a trauma, and then what I was greeted with, like, you go through trauma, but then like people catch you with like, well, God will never give you more than you can handle. Like, just pray about it.
Yeah.
And it was not helpful. It was not what I needed. And
Right.
so dealing with that, and then I read somewhere years and years ago that was just kind of like the light bulb for me, like the cherry on the cake, that was like, it was a writing talking about how we are all like gods and goddesses, and it's like we need to look to ourselves and empowering ourselves rather than being like, this, zombie that came back from the dead, that walked on water, that lives in the sky, that we can't see. He's going to fix things for us. Like, no, we have the power to fix things. We do things and intake things that nourish our inner power and makes us strong. And yeah, so that was just like, I was like, oh, like I can believe in myself. Like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sacred. I should be treating myself like I'm sacred. Oh, like this abusive relationship, like I'm actually sacred. Like, you know what I mean? Just yeah, a lot of stuff.
Ooh.
That yeah, you get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I read something similar when I started on my path. It was actually my church is nature or something. It was just that and a picture of some trees. And I was like, I can worship the trees? Yes.
Sign me up.
I was like, please, I don't have to go. It's already there. It's already out there. It's surrounding me. It's the air I breathe. Holy shit. I was like, okay, where do I sign? It's like Ariel in Little Mermaid. She signs her voice over. It's like, I want to do that. Take me, Ursula. Because it was just that one statement on Pinterest, or something. And it just grabbed hold of me. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe I can be this, Snow White's queen or some evil queen or some shit in media. And I wanted to find out, I think my sole purpose, even as a child, was I wanted to find out what those little things, when they would go like this and sparks would fly out, I was like, what is that? And I made a video a while ago. It was called The Word Witch, and how I subscribe to that and how I kind of harness my power, and how power, it took me a while to find out what power is and how it's already in you, right? And those lightning bolts were those witches' years of work, years of spells backfiring and not getting the words right and copying somebody else's spell and it didn't work. And it was that witch's power after a long time of working it. And because they're all hags, right? So that told me that it wasn't about the age. It was more so about the time they put into their practice. And after, a couple of psychology classes, I started to figure it all out. I was like, oh, I'm starting to figure this out. I'm starting to figure out that their little lightning bolts that are coming out of their fingers is all their power. And they're using it very specifically. They're using it for actual reasons. And she did, even in Snow White, she was looking through books, there was research involved. So I started to just like, I guess, overanalyze everything. And that really bloomed out my path too. Just trying to figure out what power is. So
Yeah.
that's helped my practice as well.
Well, and what was it? Give me a second. My mom brain is kicking in. Yes. Okay. So, speaking about magic and power and like seeing that when you're young, okay, that's what I want to give to everyone. Like, no matter, especially with this series, like, no matter where you're at, no matter what age you are, no matter what you were brought up with, if you're a 5th generation witch, if you're a 1st generation witch, if you don't know if you're a witch, and, if you're confident in yourself, if you have self-doubt, if you have insecurities, when we are young, you believe that you can do and be anything. And
we're taught that.
And that's that magic that's inside you. And as you grow, like the world condenses it, like, and you lose it and you lose touch with that. And this is literally just coming back to that belief that I can do anything, go anywhere, be anyone, and I am proud of who I am. I don't have discomfort. I don't have shame. And when you reach back in and touch that magic, being able to manifest anything that you want in your life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that power is.
I want that. I want the little girls that are getting taught that they can be a princess. No, you need to know what it really looks like.
You can be a warrior.
Yeah. I mean, now they've got so many good, they've gone a little better with the movies for girls. Okay. Or anyone. They've gotten better about it. It's not just a damsel in distress anymore, but in terms of power, whatever, you want to set sail and go down the ocean like Moana, it's there, it's in your grasp. And instead of getting taught that you need someone else's permission or that you need someone else to tell you that this is okay, or no, you need to do this because this is, what society tells you got to do. No, I'm going to have a picnic tomorrow in Cloud Scrap by myself because that's what I want to do. That's where my power is going to be. I'm going to suck all that stuff out of the clouds and I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to manifest me some stuff, Like,
yeah. And knows? It's just like, girls, boys, men, women, everybody non-binary, theys, thems, everybody in between. It's like you can use that energy, connect with that energy. And I don't know, it's just so beautiful. It just comes from this place of true love, acceptance, authenticity, and
it's unconditional.
It is. It's definitely unconditional and powerful. And witch is a non-binary term. It's for everyone, and everybody has that within them. And so often it's pushed down by society, by capitalism, by the patriarchy, being like, you have to work a job that you hate and pay these bills and go into debt. And you know what I mean? And you need to stand, if you're a woman, you need to stand behind the man and this and that. And witchcraft is not that. Witchcraft is you being number one to yourself, in your power, breaking down those other structures that are meant to oppress people and their magic, their uniqueness, their authenticity. And I don't know where I was going with that. Now I'm all like worked up. I'm like sweating.
No. You're on a tangent, man. Preach.
So yes. Okay. So I have 2 more things to ask you before I let you go. So
on trial. Go.
Pretty much everyone that I interview, I'm like older than them. But so you have children.
I do.
So tell me about, do you have any witchy parenting? What are you doing? Are you letting them make their own choices?
Well, my kids are teenagers.
Gross.
I was a young
kidding.
I was a young mom. No, I agree. Okay.
No, my son is 12. So like we're getting closer to that, and it's just getting kind of grosser and scarier as we go.
Smellier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So They're teenagers, and I guess because my parents play such a huge role in our lives in general, there is a lot of talk with my mom, and sometimes they go to church with her, and I let them. I'm like, all right, do what you got to do. You know, if they're spending a night with her over the weekend, and they'll go to church, and sometimes they'll come home and they'll ask me, and the only thing I do is sometimes if they're interested, I'll tell them about a ritual that I'm doing. Most of the time it's when they're in the bed, okay, or when they're at school. But sometimes if I'm doing something and you know, we're all here, I'll talk to them through it. But the only thing I do is tell them that my path is my path, and that I can't tell you that this God that I worship or that you worship is the right thing, because no one can tell you that but you. And that their little brain may be confused about religion or deity or the creation story. They may be confused right now, and that's okay. It's not like you have to choose one right now.
Oh yeah, I'm old as hell, and I'm still confused. So,
and we're always learning, and they always see me read. They are always seeing me read stuff, and I think that the most that I want to teach them in life is just to be a decent human being, and to put your money where your mouth is when the time comes, and to stand up for what's right in here, in your brain, in your brain, in your body, and in your heart. If you believe it's right, you stand up for that. And my witchcraft and your spiritual practice one day, it's going to be different. It's going to look different. I'm going to stand up for things that I believe in, but you may stand up and want to believe in something else. And that's perfectly okay. So I guess in terms of tips and tricks, I don't pagan parent them, I guess you could say. We go out and do things that are nature based, and we do spells. Sometimes one of my youngest, he likes to do moon water and use it in like his watercolors. So, you know, I tell him this is what that I do that, and that's like magic painting now, but that he may think something different, and that's okay. I guess I just stress that everyone's a little different, and we're all unique, and we have to harness that. Like you said, you were on your tangent about uniqueness. I want that. I want them to harness whatever power they can find.
Yeah, well, and just that room to grow and explore and choose is so important. So that's extremely beautiful.
Because we know how it felt to be locked into something.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, I felt restricted, and I just felt like I couldn't pursue other things, and I wasn't going to do that to them. So,
yeah. That's really beautiful. Okay, so I'm so glad. I could talk to you for like a million years.
Oh, so I know, I could talk all night.
You're definitely gonna have to come back and do another trial. But before you go, do you have anything else you want to tell anyone? Any learning resources that helped you when you got started as books, content creators? I know that you, just like me, have been subscribed to Kellyanne Maddox for years and years. Any other books or blogs or anything that you would recommend to people that might be searching for information?
Actually, no. I picked up books that just resonated with me at the time. Sometimes I still pick them up and look through them. Mostly when I started, it was all goddess work because of the severe Jesus pounding I was getting. I needed something for me. So I, I needed a little goddess stuff. So I've got a whole bunch of goddess books. Women Who Run with the Wolves changed my life. Signs and Symbols books changed my life. When I first looked that up and I saw all these religious symbols, I was like, oh my God, there's more than like 2 religions out there. Holy crap. And it was learning that, and it was learning, I read a lot of poetry, there's magic to be found in that. I think the most important thing in terms of research is Google. I Googled for an hour and a half the other night what a crystal that I found was. I mean, that I consider that part of my spiritual path. So I think that the most important thing is to not lock yourself in with the labels, not lock yourself in with thinking that you have to join some kind of sect or magical order to, unless you want that, and that's perfectly okay. And just to research little things. Start little, start small. That's my tip. Start small, start with crystals, start with, deities, start with Greek pantheons, Egyptian pantheon, start small and act like you're a kid again and you're curious, and hold that magical curiosity in your body, and that will lead you somewhere, I promise. And there's no magical forum, no magical blog that I could give you that I could even remember probably that I could tell you, but I just went where my curiosity took me, and it was like fireflies. And I followed them and caught them in mason jars until I formed a whole practice out of them. So that's my advice.
Okay. All right.
Is that good advice?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I think it's great. I will just, again, as always, I like to close out these episodes reminding you guys to just do your research. Please don't, just because someone is a content creator or they're on Instagram or they're on YouTube, don't put them on a pedestal. It doesn't necessarily mean that any of them have it figured out, or I definitely don't have it figured all out. And anyone that tells you that they are going to either heal you or that they have it all figured out, then you need to go exactly the other way, because true spiritual workers aren't going to slide into your DMs. They're not going to tell you that they're going to heal you. Instead, they're going to help you learn how to heal yourself. Those are the people and places that you need to be looking for. So again, yeah, just be careful, fact check everything, question everything, and have fun. Yeah. Just follow your own fireflies. So thank you so much, Lennon, for being here today. I appreciate you. This is absolutely wonderful. And you guys, I will see you guys back for another episode of Witch Hunt. Bye.
Thank you.